So, here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question, and Dr. Steve Schlintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlintz, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. So I got three things that are going to affect the audio quality of this podcast episode. It's always something, right? I got sick last week, and so now I still sound terrible, and I'm still coughing. So I'm going to try to get through this without actually coughing. And if I do cough, I apologize. I just coughed right there, but see, I had the power of audio. You couldn't hear it. Secondly, I am in a hotel. And thirdly, the audio mic that I use to record on the road, I lost a little fuzzy ball cover thing on top of it that muffles the sound a little bit. So I have no idea what this is going to sound like. But there was a couple things I wanted to talk about in some of these podcast episodes, broad picture things before I get back into the new patient process, which is going to be something I'm really going to focus on in this podcast episode in the next, 15 episodes. I think this is such an important aspect of dentistry, is to understand the new patient process, understanding how to get your patients through the new patient process effectively. But even before we dig into that, I wanted to talk about something that I have personally experienced, and I know every dentist most likely has experienced something very similar in their working career, and if they haven't, they either are haven't practiced enough, or are just not even human. But that's the idea of burnout. This is one that I've thought a lot about, and I can't remember if I did a podcast episode before and touched on burnout, but this is a topic that comes in many shapes and forms. And, one of the things that I see all the time with my clients is, I just don't want to work this much anymore. I don't want to do this, And I've really thought about that because I've been in positions like that, and I've really thought about this burnout thing. And the best way I can describe burnout from everybody that I've seen is that everybody says, I'm just working too hard. I'm burnt out. That's not it, guys and girls. The burnout does not come from you working too hard. Burnout comes from you working on the wrong things. And I'll give you a great example of this. There will be times where I literally do nothing in my practice. But at the end of the day, I feel mentally and physically exhausted. I go, why is that? And then there's other days that I am coaching a client and I'll go 9-10 hours and speaking straight on stage or in front of a group and really go deep into some of these concepts. And I feel more energized at the end of the day than I did at the beginning. And so if you think about that, the kind of the cumulative effect of that is that you're saying that burnout is caused maybe by working too hard. But we've all been there where we feel more energized when we're doing certain things than others. That's the key to burnout, is you need to be on purpose as much as humanly possible. Now, in dentistry, just like any profession, you're never going to be in a constant state of bliss, or as Csikszentmihalyi would call that, flow, right? Where things are just, they're flowing, they're natural. I don't know if you've ever read that book. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. But think of professional athletes, right? They're in flow. Everything comes easy to them. They're natural. It's very hard in any profession to be able to do that consistently day in and day out. But the closer you get to that state in your respective field, the less burnout you're going to get over your entire career. We've all seen this. There's people that do like absolutely mind-numbing amount of work, and they get done, and you're like, where do they get all the energy? I can guarantee you that they're on purpose with their mission, right? They thrive off of that. But if you're working on the wrong things, if you're not on purpose, and you start to put yourself in that environment day in and day out, I guarantee you with 100% certainty, you will be burned out. So you might be asking yourself, okay, so I'm either on one end of the spectrum or the other. I could be just absolutely loving what I'm doing in practice. I wouldn't want to do anything else, right? Or you could say, I can kind of get out of my practice, like I can't do this anymore, right? You're on one of those two spectrums. If you're on the second spectrum, right, like I got to get out of here, I would challenge you, okay, what are the things that you are on purpose with? And I'm not saying, like people misinterpret this. They go, well, I really love golf. Does that mean I should give up dentistry and be a professional golfer? No, not at all. But you can start to look at what are the aspects of golf that I really enjoy? What are the aspects of, anything that I really enjoy? It's reading. What do I enjoy about reading? What do I enjoy about this? What do I enjoy about this? Now, here's this is the key. You have to learn to take those pieces and put it in your current environment. And the more you do that consistently over time, the happier you'll be, right? You'll feel better because you're working towards something that you're on purpose or you're passionate about, even within your current field. I am not a big proponent, and I studied mindset and I coach mindset. And I've studied years with, in my opinion, the guru when it comes to personal growth and development, Bob Proctor. And I saw this consistently with consultants that worked in the company. They'd quit their job. They're like, I'm so off purpose. I got to quit my job. I got to do this. I don't recommend anybody does that. Because now it puts undue stress on whatever you're jumping into, right? So this is a more internal dilemma. This is not something that I can just jump out of one job and I'll be happy. That's never going to happen. What you can do is tap into your true passions within your respective field, and then you develop enough confidence and enough skill set that you could actually diversify. For me, it's coaching, right? I love that aspect. I love the idea of creating programs that dentists can take with them for a lifetime. I love the challenge of taking what I know and putting it into an online format so that my goal is to get people the results without actually ever having to talk to them. That's my goal. Right now, I'll talk to my clients, and I love talking to my clients, and I love working with them, and I love helping them and developing. But like my premise for coaching is that I can take my knowledge, what I've been good at, what I have not been good at, put it into an online platform, and really help people learn in that immersive environment without me needing to handhold them. That way, I can impact more dentists' lives that are trying to do more comprehensive-based dentistry. That's my passion in the respective dental field. So now what I've done is that I can take that and actually bring it back to the practices that I'm in, whether it's my own practice, whether I'm working out of another practice. I'm always refining and refocusing because I'm trying to create this ultimate coaching program for my clients. So it's like a testing ground. If I didn't have that and I just strictly went into my practice day in and day out, and that's all I did, I can tell you from firsthand experience, I burn out faster than you can possibly believe. It took me about 2 years to get to the point where I was just completely burnt out. And that was as a practice owner. I was burnt out as an associate, then I became a practice owner, and then I spent a lot of time in the practice ownership phase, and then I got burnt out again because I wasn't completely on purpose. Right? So you have to find those things, and if you're feeling burnt out in the profession, it's not simply a result of working too much. That's what I want to hammer home here. You are probably off purpose. It makes it off purpose, right? And I will tell you, the dentists that I work with primarily, one of the reasons they're burnt out is they're not doing anything meaningful for their patients in their own eyes, right? Very few dentists that I know actually want to do class 2 composites. And some do, very few, but a lot don't. And I hear that over and over. I don't want to do fillings anymore. I said, okay, well, what do you want to do? And then they can't answer that question. I want to do more comprehensive cases. Okay, great. What are you working on? What are you putting in place in your practice to be able to do more of that? And they don't have an answer. There is none. They're doing exactly the same thing that they did before that resulted in a lot more class 2 composites, and now they're trying to do something different. It's the same way with burnout. You can't take away work and expect the burnout to go away, because at some point you're going to have to go back into work. Right? Now, if you're in a position where your passive investments are so high that you could afford to walk out of the office today and not lose any standard of living, then I guess you have a decision to make, right? But I don't think even walking away from practice, like, what are you going to do after that? I hear that all the time. People are, I'd just sit on a beach. Have you ever sat on a beach for months at a time? I mean, I'm honestly asking you, the listener, if you sat on a beach for a month at a time and never did anything, do you think that would solve some problems for you? The answer is probably no, because I've worked with enough clients to know that the number one thing that most people, if you boil down, like, what do you love about your work? What do you love about what you do? And you keep going deeper and deeper into that, people that have any remote passion for what they do, almost all of them at some level, it's either building or creating something, right? I mean, that's like a human urge, is to want to create and build. So you have to have, like, 95% of clients that I work with, like, they have to have that at some point. So if you're sitting on a beach, that's probably great for a while. You'll decompress and you'll relax and things. But even the people that are on the beach, they're usually doing something. Like, most entrepreneurs, they can't sit and just completely shut it off and say, I'm totally fine. Eventually they'll get to a point where it's like, I got to do something again. And the second that does that, if you don't know what caused the burnout in the first place, you'll repeat it and it'll be even worse, right? It will lead to other issues. So that's the key with burnout. That is the key with being on purpose. That's the key with maintaining your energy, having more energy. I've been up since, 14 hours now, and I have coaching calls and recording podcast episodes, and I'm as excited to do this now as I was 9 hours ago, right? Like, I know that this is my thing. And especially in the dental field, I know this is my thing. I love creating content. I love creating programs. I love facilitating that to help my clients learn. And I'm able to do that in an environment that supports my creative urges. And so I never run out of energy when I do this. Where I get in trouble is if I'm only doing practice, right? If I practice 4 or 5 days a week, I've done that. I can't do it. I know that about myself. So now I have to tap into other creative endeavors that even allow me to come back to that part of what I'm doing and get some joy out of it, because I know, hey, I'm helping patients. And then ultimately, I'm also helping my dental clients, because I'm testing out some of the theories that I have and what works and what doesn't. Does it work in this conditions? Does it work in this conditions? And I can bring it back to the program. So it comes full circle. So if you're not feeling as excited as you should be in your practice, you got to check in with yourself and say, am I really doing what I want to be doing, even in this practice? I'm not talking about golfing. I'm not talking about escaping on a beach. Find those passions. Learn how to tap into those passions within your current environment, and I guarantee you some of the burnout that you experience will go away. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, so much for listening. If you're interested in learning more, I'd love to hop on a call with you, see where you're at in your practice, see how I can help you go where you want to go. There's a link in the podcast description that actually is just directly a call to me. That'll get you on a complimentary coaching call. It takes about 45 minutes of time, and honestly, I'll just sit there and try to figure out where you're at, where you want to go, and if I can help you get there, fantastic. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, so much for listening. Reviews and ratings are always appreciated. It helps me get my message out to more dentists. And until the next time, take care.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schlitz. We'll see you on the next episode.